Annyeonghaseyo, welcome to the land of Korean cinema. I'm sure most of you know that there's still compulsory military service in Korea. It used to be like that here in Hungary as well, and I'm a lucky bastard, because it ceased to be compulsory right at the time when I was supposed to be enlisted. Having watched today's show, I'm really glad I didn't have to go. So let's talk about DP, or DP. It means Disorder Pursuit, just to be very clear. You little pervs. The show stars Chung Hae-in, Kook Yo-wan, who starred in Escape from Mogadishu recently, Kim Sung-gyun, and Son Sak-woo. Chung Hae-in plays a young man called An Jun-ho, who gets enlisted in the beginning of the series. Eventually he becomes a so-called DP, whose job is to catch those who have deserted from the military. He partners up with Kook Yo-wan's character and goes after the deserters. The show explores a lot of possibilities as to what drives people to the point of escaping their mandatory service. A lot of it has to do with bullying, and we get to see it on each levels. It isn't just between privates and their superiors. But the fact that 2 years of your life is taken away while all your loved ones are struggling out in the real world also has a lot to do with it. DP is a show that talks about something very important, and I really respect that. I respect that because although I didn't experience it firsthand, I saw what it did to my father. He had to serve a year and a half and it completely broke him. There was a period where they didn't let him go home for about 6 months, so eventually he stole the car of one of his superiors and drove home. He was in detention for a month after that. He did experience some bullying, but he was mostly homesick. Others had it way worse than him, those who weren't as physically capable as him, you know? And it's quite sad to see that these things are still happening, and it seems to be universal. I think this is not a subject that's often talked about, and I'm really glad we have a show now that dares to talk about it, and manages to be highly entertaining while doing that. I was pretty surprised by the amount of humor that's in the show. But it works and it makes the show much easier to digest, because when it gets serious, it gets really serious. As much as I enjoyed the humor, it was the drama that really caught my attention. DP is an episodic show. Almost each episode deals with the case of a different disorder, and each of their situation is different, but it's really easy to understand why each and every one of them decided to leave. The show deals with the question of mental health in the military, the physical abuse soldiers have to suffer, and also the reason why superiors usually don't do anything about it. Actually, that's very well addressed here, and it's absolutely infuriating. And sometimes the consequences are fatal. Usually I'm not a fan of these kind of episodic series. I like to have a consistent storyline. But it was so easy to get invested in the stories of these soldiers. None of them were boring or irrelevant, and they affect the main characters as well. Chung Hae-in was really awesome as Private An Jun-ho. His character isn't really a man of words, but Chung Hae-in somehow manages to bring this character fully alive. You can tell he's a troubled man, but he's also very empathetic. He really has a hard time catching disorders because he understands them all. And he also used to be a boxer, so he can throw a punch. But he's not invincible. Kook Yo-wan is the total opposite. He's a loudmouth. He jokes around constantly. He doesn't seem to care about who they catch. He's basically a comic relief character who manages to show some real depth as the show goes on. Him and Chung Hae-in have amazing chemistry together, and it's true for the whole cast. Kim Sung-gyun plays a sergeant. He's leading the DP team. And as strict and cold he likes to portray himself, he's actually a great guy, unlike most of the superiors. Great character, great performance. And just to mention Son Sak-woo as well, I didn't expect his character to have such a satisfying arc in the show. It's probably him who changes the most, and it was really cool to see. And he was really good, of course. And if that all wasn't enough, DP is one of the most beautifully shot dramas I've ever seen. The overall subject matter might be dark, but the show is so colorful. Imagine the colors of the fall, but they're a lot more vibrant. The show uses a wonderful color palette, and it especially comes alive when it's nighttime. DP is a joy to watch, it really is. It's absolute eye candy. A lot of the tracking shots are also fantastic. I love how they move with the camera. And the fight scenes look fantastic too. Long shots, wide shots, great editing, lots of energy, but everything is clearly visible. That's how it's done. Also, the average episode length is about 50 minutes, and I didn't even notice. Every time an episode ended, I was like, wait, that's it? I thought it was 20 minutes. The pacing here is amazing. Everything moves along so well. Now, here's the problem. DP is only 6 episodes. And I know that it sounds ridiculous, but it's way too short. It's so good, but the episodes fly by so fast and there are so many things that could have been delved into a little bit more. Take Chung Hae-in's character, for example. We get glimpses of his past and his relationships, but we never really get to know why he is the way he is. Since the acting is so strong, it works, but it would have been so nice to know more about him. I feel like there are lots of stories in there. And although him and Kook Yo-wan have amazing chemistry, they don't have enough time to fully bond together because they're always on a mission. That part also could have been improved upon. And the last case they're working on ends up being the biggest. And it was set up by little things during the show, but I also think that also could have been set up a little bit more. Just for dramatic effect. It seriously seems like the writer wasn't so sure whether his show was good enough or not, so he opted to write less. I think DP easily could have been 10 episodes long. It would have done miracles for the main characters. But overall, DP is a very well done show. It manages to be thought-provoking and highly entertaining at the same time. Not to mention the absolutely outstanding cinematography, which adds a lot to the whole experience. Because the show left me wanting a lot more, I'm gonna give DP 82%. But don't let this stop you, this is a really good show and I highly recommend it to anyone. It's out on Netflix, and please watch it in Korean. 여러분, 오늘은 여기까지만 해요. 영상 봐주셔서 감사합니다. 이 영상 좋아하면 구독과 좋아요 잘 부탁드립니다. See you very soon. 다음 시간에 만나요, 여러분. 안녕히 계세요. Bye!